Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Egypt has offered archaeologists a wealth of untold secrets with the recent archaeological discoveries in Saqqara. The Minister of Antiquities explained that he is not announcing a new archaeological discovery, but rather announcing an entire museum. Saqqara seems to be floating on treasures that keeps unearthing all the time. And the discoveries include a collection of 75 wood and bronze cat statues of different shapes and sizes, 25 wooden chests decorated with different materials and inscribed with hieroglyphic text containing cat mummies, also wooden statues of different animals, and large stone scarab and two smaller ones made of wood and sandstone, a wooden ibis statue, 6 wooden statues of Petah, Sakara, a number of treasures that have been discovered, and the discovery was carried out by an Egyptian archaeological mission. This is actually very significant in itself, and the mission was headed by Dr. Mustafa Waziri, Secretary General of the Supreme Council of Antiquities, during its work at the Animal Cemetery. In order to know more about this very important area and the discoveries, we're very much honored to have with us Dr. Atef, travel expert and PhD holder in heritage and museum studies. It was a pleasure having you with us, Dr. Amr. Thank you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Now, what is special about Saqqara? This area seems to be like a treasure place. What is so significant about it?
Sakara is one of the most important necropolises in Egypt, and you see it all the time when you go there. I mean, all the tombs and the step pyramid is considered to be the first building that was built out of stone by mankind on Earth. And before this time, they used to build out of mud brick. And I'm talking about straw mud brick that they brought from the Nile. And then they started to build out of stone for the first time. 2700 BC we're talking. Imagine 2700 BC, and just to explain this, how far that in our history, King Tutankhamun in 1350 BC, when he used to go with his family, and I'm just saying as an example, when he used to go with his family to Saqqara to visit the step pyramid, it was already almost 1400 years old.
Wow.
Can you imagine? I mean, it was already old.
Unimaginable.
And I'm going to tell you something else. The time frame between building the step pyramid in Sakara in 2700 BC and the temples that you see when you go down the Nile, I mean the Greco-Roman temples, equals to the time frame from building those temples to us today.
Yes.
And that shows how spacious the history is. Back to Sakara, and it has the biggest collection of tombs. And of course, it's clear from all the discoveries that they do all the time. And it also has the Bobastian area, that where the biggest discovery happened. I mean, only a few weeks ago, or a couple of weeks ago, on the in May 30th. And this is considered to be the first time to have such a discovery by totally Egyptian experts. I mean, the expedition was led by Dr. Mustafa Waziri, the head, the Secretary General of the Supreme Council of Antiquities, and it's the first time to have something like that. Also, it has the colonnade, or the hypostyle hall, that leads to the open court where they did the Habsat feast. It's a jubilee feast of electing the king in the past. So Sakara, if we talk about Sakara, we need days and days, and we need to visit and to talk about it.
Indeed. Actually, why do the archaeological discoveries in Egypt always dazzle the world like that? Because it seems that every few months there are discoveries coming out from Saqqara.
The people want to see the new things, and it's always Egypt is not the same. I mean, we always tell the travelers Egypt is not your parents' Egypt or your grandparents' Egypt that they visited in the past. Egypt is different. This is new Egypt now. The tours are more Instagrammic tours, if I can say. and people like to see the new things. They like to go to places that nobody has been before. Luxor and Aswan are great. I mean, people like to go to Luxor and Aswan. It will always be great.
Yes.
But imagine when someone tells his family and friends that I'm going to Egypt and I'm going to visit this tomb or this site that's discovered, last year or last month or whatever. It's a new site. People like to see new things, and this happens all the time. So it's not, it's not this cookie cut tours that used to be in the past. It's different. I mean, the way people visit the country and the way people do the tours are totally different.
And in your own opinion, as travel expert, how can we invest such admiration or enthusiasm about Saqqara in particular? How can we invest in these discoveries themselves?
Well, it's already been invested, and the tour operators in Egypt and outside Egypt are adding new days on the tour. New tour days in Cairo, for instance. And in the past, they used to come to Egypt and visit. Do a day or two tours. Well, now they do like 4 days. I mean, the new itineraries are 4 days and 5 days. So it's more nights that they are spending in Cairo. More nights is good for sustainability. More nights is good for tourism. More nights is good for the economy, and more nights is good for the local community. So it's already invested, and it's a good promotion. So when you put those new discoveries on the itineraries, and imagine they want to visit the new museum, for instance, the Namek, or the new discovery in Sakara. They do private visits, they do private tours, and so I think it's and also the resorts now has museums. Well, in the past, we used to comment that the resorts has its own clients or clientele that just want to go to the beach, for instance. Well, nowadays there are museums that have been built and opened in the beaches, in the beach areas. We're talking Sharm el-Sheikh, Hurghada, and this and that. El Alamein. So there are museums there. So the travelers would go visit the beach, visit the resort, and also go visit the museum there in the city. So that's already been invested.
Since you are a holder of PhD in Heritage and Museum Studies, museums, the issue of museums is actually very important, and Egypt has been inaugurating many museums, as you kindly mentioned. We are expecting GEM very soon, and
November,
we have already
probably
inaugurated in resorts like Sharm el-Sheikh and Hurghada to make the type of visitors to these areas not only interested in the leisure part of tourism, but also to discover the cultural and historical aspects that Egypt can actually offer.
Absolutely correct. I mean, those museums will increase the number of travelers. And if we talk about the GEM only, for instance, the travelers, when they come here, they always ask about the GEM. They've been asking about the GEM for the last couple of years. Well, they come and say, when it's going to be opened? We're here for the GEM. You know, the opening has been postponed because of COVID took place worldwide. I mean, and because of this and that. But now they are asking about the GEM, and we always answer back and say it's a chance to come back. I mean, to come back and visit Egypt and go for the GEM. It's going to be a great opening for our inauguration for the GEM, and travelers would come and would see the GEM, and especially with the way the artifacts are displayed. I mean, the GEM is such a great project. You know, it costed 2 billion Egyptian pounds, and it's considered to be the largest building that was built and accommodates Egyptian artifacts worldwide. It's going to be kind of a kingship museum, and they will display the artifacts, and the background will be the pyramids, and so I think it's going to be an added value for our visitors to Egypt.
Definitely. Now back again to Saqqara. Do you think that Saqqara will keep giving us more, that there will be more discoveries?
In Sakara?
Yes.
Well, you can say that again. The Sakara will have more discoveries. They are working up till today. I mean, every day they're working day and night, and they're working on the digs continuously. And they are now as we speak, the Antiquities Department and Dr. Mustafa Waziri and people in charge in Saqqara are working on the digs, trying to discover the tomb of Imhotep. And Imhotep, by the way, is an architect, and he's the one who had the idea of building the step pyramid. An astronomer and a physician, the one who was later on worshipped by the Greeks as a god, and quite a think tank. And they're now working on discovering the tomb of Imhotep. And when they discover it, it will be another wow. I mean, it will be another big thing in Egypt, and people will come to see it. Yeah. So yes, they are, and there are still lots of treasures. I believe that Egypt is floating on monuments.
I was just saying that.
You know, floating on monuments.
Especially Saqqara.
Especially Saqqara. I mean, Saqqara was the largest necropolis of Memphis as the oldest capital of Egypt. And by the way, Saqqara is one of the most important UNESCO World Heritage Sites.
Yes,
I mean,
yes, indeed. Actually, Saqqara contains numerous pyramids, including the world-famous step pyramid of Zoser, as you mentioned, sometimes referred to as the step tomb. Now, what is the difference between the pyramid of Zoser and the Giza pyramids?
Well, they call the pyramid of Zoser the step pyramid, or the step tomb. The step pyramid, let's say the step pyramid. And the difference is the name, as you say. I mean, the name would explain it a little bit. I mean, we're talking the steps on top of each other. And by the way, the step pyramid was built by coincidence. It was not meant to be a step pyramid.
This is one difference between the pyramids and the step pyramids.
You can say that, yes, absolutely. I mean, first, Imhotep built one mastaba, which is a step over the ground level, and that was the deal. And then he asked Zoser to come and have a look at the work, the king in charge at the time, 2700 BC. Zoser liked the idea, so he asked him to add another step. Okay. So it became 2 steps on top of each other, and they kept adding until it became 6 steps on top of each other. You know, so it's the first. It's first stage of building the pyramid. Yes. First, they started from a shallow pit, and then a mastaba, which is 1 step over the ground level. Yes. Step pyramid, bent pyramid, well, unfinished pyramid, and then the Giza pyramids.
Yes.
So that's mainly the difference.
Yes. Where was the Saqqara wooden bird discovered? And because some claim that this bird was an ancient plane. Your say about that?
Well, I don't know about plane, but I mean the bird itself of the ba bird in Saqqara, the wooden bird of the ba was discovered in the tunnels. In the tunnels, the tomb tunnels of Saqqara in the 80s, and it was discovered by if I remember correctly, by Harry Smith, a British archaeologist, who was the one who was working on the excavations at the time. And again, I'm talking about the 80s. And the ba represents a head of the deceased and the body of a bird. It's the identical of the deceased in the past. And the idea of the bird is that he can fly between our world and the hereafter.
So it's like the spirit or the
It's like the spirit. It's all what belongs to the person, but not physically. It's his personality. It's his humor. It's his ideas. This is what the ancient Egyptians believed in the Ba.
Yes.
And they have it now in display. I'm talking about the statue you're talking about, the wooden statue of the Ba in the Egyptian Museum of Antiquities. But also we discovered other Ba statues. I mean, wooden Ba statues in this new discovery of the Bobastion that I was just telling you about. Yes. Lots of those Ba statues, wooden and painted, so it's beautiful and amazing. And it will be on display in the Nemek and the GEM, the Grand Egyptian Museum, and also in the ancient Egyptian Museum in the Tahrir Square.
That's marvelous, but I have a question. In your opinion, Dr. Amr, how can the state deal with Saqqara as an area? Should it be kept as a closed area for the sake of discoveries and work and excavation, or should it be open to the public to come and visit? Should it be turned into an open museum? How can we deal with it?
Saqqara, I mean, I mean, Sakara now has all the tours. I mean, that come to Cairo, to Egypt. I would not say all the tours, but part of the tours that come to Egypt and most of the tours that come to Cairo, they go to Saqqara. Now, it can be different layers of tours. So we can have the buses and the tours that goes to visit the colonnade and the hypostyle hall and the open court and the step pyramid. Nowadays, by the way, they can go inside the step pyramid. It's also open for the visitors because for years people were not able to go inside the step pyramid. Now they can go inside the step pyramid. So that's part of the tour. There are lots of tombs. We're talking about the tomb of Kagimni. We're talking about the tomb of the pyramid of Titi. We're talking about the pyramid of Onas. The pyramid text carved on the walls. We have the tomb of Princess Idut, with this beautiful colors and stunning, dates back to 2300 BC. So that's part of the tour. But there can be another special tour of this new discovery area. I'm talking about the new discoveries of the Bobastion. They can make it another different tour, special tour, private tours. And that can increase the income of the antiquities department, can be good for the economy. So I would say it's a win-win situation.
Definitely.
And the government is already, by the way, doing that, together with the private sector. I mean, there are travel agencies that does the private entrances of the tombs, like the tomb of Miho and the tomb of the new tomb, the tomb of Maya. She was the wet nurse of King Tutankhamun. Even the name is very, I mean, people say...
Very common among Egyptians.
Yeah, I mean, common among Egyptians, but for the travelers, when they say wet nurse for King Tut, I mean, they go visit this tomb. And also the messenger of Ramses. And so there are lots of tombs that are opened privately. That's part of the tour. The good thing about it is, people also like to go down in the shafts, in the tunnels, and act like, you know, those movies of Indiana Jones and take the pictures. As I was telling you, it's this Instagramic tours. They like to take the picture. And the good thing is internet now made things easier. So people would take a picture and in a fraction of a second, it will be all over the world. I mean, people would see it, people would share it, and that's good advertisement.
Of course, so that's a very good way to advocate and promote tourism here in Egypt. Now, so many monuments and a lot of artifacts have been looted from Egypt, and there have been numerous efforts to retrieve those monuments, and so far Egypt has actually retrieved so many monuments. How do you see the efforts exerted by the Ministry of Antiquities in this regard?
Well, that's. I mean, there is a sector, there is a section in the Antiquities Department, in the Ministry of Antiquities, in Tourism and Antiquities. There is a section to retrieve the looted monuments, and they are. I mean, they open their eyes all the time for those auctions, those black auctions here and there, and they keep track. And if there is any Egyptian artifact that is being sold or dealt with in any of those auctions illegally, this department works immediately, moves and start to work on retrieving those artifacts. And I remember there was a statue that was sold I mean, a couple of years ago by one of the museums. I think it was the statue of Seknen Ra, if I remember correctly. Anyways, it was an Egyptian statue that was sold in an auction by one of the museums. And the Egyptian government and the Antiquities Department, the Ministry of Antiquities, Tourism and Antiquities, moved immediately and reported the act. And what happened is the ICOM, which is the International Council of Museums, actually did lots of, I would say, actions against the museum that sold this Egyptian artifact, to the extent that they actually stopped any dealing with the museum, and because this is part of the ethics, the ICOM ethics, or the ICOM code, the code of ethics of the international ICOM. So Egypt is working hard, and this department is really working hard on retrieving those pieces.
Yes. Would you tell us the significance of developing the pyramids and the Grand Egyptian Museum area shedding light on the most remarkable features of the state's developing plan. We have seen actually some development taking place in the Giza Plateau and other areas. How do you see that?
The government is, the trend now would be, of course, visiting the Grand Museum. And the Grand Egyptian Museum will be connected to the pyramids area. You go now to the pyramids area and it's already, they are working now on the renovation of the site. They will change the entrance of the pyramid to the other gate towards the Fayoum Road, and they will stop the buses and the cars going inside the site, because you know what, the vibration of the buses and the exhaust of those cars negatively affects the pyramid, and we want the pyramid to last for generations and generations to come. So that's a good thing, that's a plus. And people actually comment all the time about this exhaust of the buses and so on and so forth. Now this is a step they're taking. The vendors and all those this action that's happening in the pyramids area will be moved to kind of stalls outside the location. People will come by a train, like an electric train, and
Yes.
they will be there will be different types of tours. Let's say they want to go from the gem to the pyramid, so, and only visit the pyramid of Cheops. So that's like tour number 1, for instance. And then they have another tour that will include the pyramid of Cheops and the Chafran and then Masserenus. So that's the second tour. And some people will want to do the Sphinx only, or the pyramid and the Sphinx. So there will be different tours, and it will be all arranged and well prepared. The other thing is, the government, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi actually has been advising building this new road that they're working on, and this road will connect Saqqara to Giza and to the gem. So the Grand Museum, the Giza pyramids, and Sakara will be connected by one road. It used to take us a long time to go all the way to Sakara. It will
Yes.
take like
That
20
was
minutes.
One of the obstacles, yes.
One of the obstacles. Now it will take almost 20 minutes to go from the gem all the way to Sakara, imagine. So it will be better. And also they have an airport in close to the gem. They will have an airport close to the gem, and people would fly in, visit the gem. Let's say people don't have time to spend because I don't want people who are listening to us to think that it's only, if you want to come to Egypt, you only can stay 2 weeks. No, let's say transit tours. Let's say people who would have only 1 night or 2 nights. They can fly in, or even hours. They can fly in through this new airport that it's already there, fly in, visit the gem, you know, and maybe have lunch at the pyramids, visit the pyramids, and go back and catch their flight and go back to their destination.
Yes.
So I think that's amazing.
Yes. Well, very interesting indeed. I'd like to thank you very much, Dr. Amr Atef,
Thank
travel
you.
expert and PhD holder in Heritage and Museum Studies. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you. It's always great to be with you. Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for more coming up here in this edition of Nile Cruise.